You're watching BCTV. We're all about Brantford. You're watching BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Brantford.
Good evening. Today is Monday, January 8th, 2024. Welcome to the Board of Police Commissioners. This meeting is now called to order. Roll call. Everyone is here except John Sasuris and Deputy Chief Al. Okay. Moving on to approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting on Monday, November 13th, 2023? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions? Well, in that case, all you who approve, say aye.
Aye.
Now we move on to the report of the chief.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's been a little bit since we've met. I'm going to go through our monthly statistical report. If you look at December, as we're closing out the year, you know, the same issues are trending high. The motor vehicle thefts, we're up 89% this year. We're probably going to hit the 100 mark, just shy of 100 stolen cars this year. And with that said, I don't know if anyone saw some of the coverage, but we did have a span of 3 hours where officers made 10 juvenile arrests. That's 10 juveniles that we arrested for stolen cars. They also were tied, a group of them were tied to an assault that happened on an Amtrak train. Out of those 10 juveniles, the ages range from 12 years old up to 15 years old. I believe half of them had ankle monitors on, so they've already been arrested previous in the system. So it's important to note that we had 3 in custody, and then while they were dealing with those juveniles, they had another call and they made the arrest of the other 7. And each one of them, there was what they call an order to detain, which is an order that they have to present to not only a prosecutor but a judge, and then we had to transport them down to Bridgeport. And thanks to Guilford Police Department and the East Haven Police Department transferring 10 juveniles at one time on a weekend schedule is tough to do, so they helped us out with some assistance with transporting them. So, you know, we're out there. You can see that a lot of those numbers are, again, fueled by the juveniles, again, fueled by repeat offenders. And, you know, this is going to have to be something that's looked at. And we're not the only one. It's like I said, it's statewide. And so we continue to see that impact. Also, bad news, our purse snatchings did go up again. And again, these are tied to stolen cars, same type of offenders. They're targeting the shopping centers, they're targeting the gas stations and the supermarkets in the parking lot. Specifically with the gas stations, they will open up your passenger door, try to get it that way, or we've seen cases where they'll even sneak in the driver's door as you're pumping the gas and take off with it. So with that said, as we went in December and the heavy shopping season, we deployed a lot of resources into our commercial areas. We had both marked and unmarked cars. Our day shift and evening shift used a variety of different strategies and techniques to be visible, but also, and I think we had good success with that. With that said, you'll see some of the enforcement numbers on the motor vehicle side for those months went down because we shifted and we moved those resources, so the discretionary time was not available there. The DUIs, as you would imagine in the holiday season, those did go up. Looks like we're going to close the year with a 20% increase. We had 40 in 2022 and 48 in 2023. The other trend, which is concerning, and this is something that we dedicate a lot of attention and resources to, specifically with our social workers, but our domestic disputes and our behavioral calls, our mental health crisis calls continue to rise. We're up again this year. Put that in perspective, we do about 460 mental health calls in calendar year 2023. That's a lot of calls, and those are pretty serious calls. Some of it's driven by some of the facilities that are here in town, and some of it is just what we're seeing in society, and we're feeling that. So those are numbers we're looking at. Kind of on the good news side, our overdoses, they're down 42%. We closed out last year with 62. This year we're at 36. I believe our fatal overdoses are going to be pretty steady, but there's a lot of variables that impact that, and that number going down is, probably more of the type of product that was on the street versus previously. And so when we see these, we see them in batches. I believe yesterday they had 2 overdoses within 15 minutes. So you can kind of trend and know when there's a bad batch, specifically, with a lot of fentanyl in it. So that's all we're seeing. So there was that's good to see that number is coming down. Other cases of interest on the criminal side I want to point out. Again, I highlighted the juvenile arrest. In December 27th, the Starbucks was vandalized. That caught some media attention. What was spray painted revolved around Israel and Hamas. Our detectives, assisted by Sergeant Kineski and some of the line officers, did a lot of legwork, developed a suspect, and we have an arrest warrant being prepared and going to court now for a suspect in that case. So very good job on their part putting that together. Also, they're busy working on a robbery that occurred a while back at Chucky's Mobile. They've obtained some DNA and some witnesses' statements, and they're also applying for arrest warrant for a suspect there. So it looks like we have a bunch of good solves on their part. Also, kind of tied in, I want to highlight a couple of the impacts that the men and women here made during the holiday season. It's a tough time to work, and not every day is a holiday for certain people. One case in particular, it's not always about solving every crime or how we deal with that, but it's the impact we can make with people. And we had a case where there was a 15-year-old missing girl from Rhode Island, and we were tasked with locating her, and the detectives worked very hard and pulled out all the stops, and we were able to find her. Really, really good police work. But what was more important is when the father came in, his emotion got the best of him when he was in the lobby, and he didn't think we were going to find her. And he basically was beyond pleased, and for the officers to see that makes things worthwhile when you can make that impact. Try to get her some help, and but to see his face and how he reacted to that was something that they were grateful for. Also, along those lines, we had a mental health call. I don't want to go into specifics of it for privacy reasons, but it was a rather traumatic event. It involved some minor children. Their household that day, it was a rough way for them. It was tough on the officers. This was the Wednesday before Christmas or Thursday. We all banded together. At the last moment, we put together some donations. We were able to, we had a Christmas tree here inside the training room here. We were able to get those children in here. And we had a little Christmas celebration with all sorts of great presents for them. And the icing on the cake for that is, they said best Christmas ever. So, those are some of the impacts that the men and women make on a daily basis that I just wanted to highlight for the good order of the department. Also, I have a request for an expenditure of asset forfeiture funds. Normally, if our kind of in policy with the commission's been anything over 5,000, we present to the commission for approval. What this is a request for $16,000 out of our asset forfeiture account for ballistic shields. What a ballistic shield is basically a square shield that officers can hold, and these specific, there's 3 of them for different types of scenarios. One will do small arms fire, which is like handgun, protect you from handgun. The other one is a rifle shield, and that is for the upper end rifle rounds. That one alone is $8,000. But what this ties into is some of our training, and it basically makes it safer for the officers when you're dealing in close quarters, like in some of the hallways in the apartments or in the hotels, in the hallways and the hotel rooms, for times that they have to go in. We have other technologies we like to use too, but this is another good tool for them. And this will tie into, we have a vehicle coming. Hopefully now that the strike's over, the truck will be produced. It's going to be an equipment truck that'll be utilized by the officers on duty, and specifically a lot of the officers from the regional SWAT team, and that'll house a lot of our equipment. So we have it readily available on the road. It's really no good to you if you got to come back to the station to get it. So this will tie into that. So request the approval for that expenditure. In that account, we're roughly still at, I think today it was like 101,000 or somewhere near there. We get trickles of deposits coming in from federal asset forfeiture. So the impact on that account is minimal.
Do we need to take a vote on that?
We need to vote to add it to the agenda and then vote to approve it.
Yeah.
So
And
is
it's
there
for
a-
$16,000?
Yes.
So that means there's 2.
3 of them.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
2 for the handgun.
Yeah, one of them is
got ya.
like 8,200 and then the other ones.
So is there a motion to add the request for $16,000 in the forfeiture report for the purchase of ballistic shields? Made by Bob. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so added to the agenda. Is there a motion now to approve the purchase of the ballistic shields for the total of $16,000?
I'll make the motion, Patty.
Is there a second? All who approve, say aye.
Aye.
Done.
All right, thank you for that. As far as correspondence, we have a couple letters here. One is for Officer McCone. He helped with a neighbor called. They hadn't seen their neighbor, and Officer McCone went to help comfort that person in a tough time, and she just wanted to thank him. Also have a letter for Officer Eric Sarasi. Back in the summer of '23, Officer Sarasi responded for a male party in cardiac arrest. Unfortunately, he had passed. As we fast forward, the wife of the person who passed came in for get her fingerprints done, and she was under some stress, and he was able to help her guide that process and get it through, and she recognized him from that tough day. She said she was just touched by his compassion, his kindness, and wanted his actions to be recognized. Police have had a tough time over the past 3 years with public perception. I just wish more people understood that our police officers are human beings just like us, and all they want to do is help and make a difference. Officer Rossi not only helped me meet my requirements, but more importantly, restored my faith in humankind. So kind of a very touching letter. We thank her for pointing that out and wish her the best. Lastly, we have the passing of retired Chief William Hollihan Jr. He was chief here in Brantford PD. He served 25 years with the department, but previous to that, he had done about 20 years in New Haven PD, and he left as the deputy chief inspector. He came over to Brantford as our police chief. I believe he was three or four chiefs ago. He passed. We attended his services, had the honor guard there, and helped the family with some of that. And then they sent us a correspondence thanking us for our presence and how much he appreciated the department, and some of his requests we were able to fulfill. So he came on at a time when Brantford needed him, and kind of righted the ship, and was a well-known good police chief. So we wish the family the best. Other than that, I don't have anything else. As far as the deputy was unable to attend tonight, so as far as the building project update, basically we're at status quo. We'll have some more updates for the next meeting as we pursue the next steps with that project. Almost forgot, in front of you, there is a very comprehensive report put together by Lieutenant Carangelo regarding an analysis and overview of some of the demands that the department's facing. And this in turn is going to prompt a request for 2 additional officers in the next fiscal budget. I presented each of you with a copy. I would say at your leisure, read through it. It highlights some of the things that we've often talked about and the need and the shifting demands on our service. So very well put together, encapsulates everything we wanted to show, and I think it's pretty telling. And I think it'll help us tremendously in trying to add to our staffing. With that said, as you know, we are down on paper. On paper, we are full staff. But the officers that are available, like I said last month, we're not. We're down 5 or 6. With that said, that leads to overtime, and we are trending higher to date this year. We are over where I would like to be, and that is directly attributed to replacements because of the staffing to maintain the levels. Some of the risk protection orders, there's been a few little changes there where officers are now getting subpoenaed more than previously. We're seeing some spike in there, and then obviously our training backfilling. So it's to be expected. We monitor it, but there's just certain things we can't cut, like some of the training and stuff. So we'll monitor that as we get closer, but that impact. So if you have any questions about the document, reach out to me or the deputy. But I think you'd be very pleased. It's a great snapshot of what we've been talking about.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Reported the chair. There's nothing to report tonight. We'll move on to citizen comments, and we have no one here to make comments. So the last piece of business is a motion to adjourn. Is there one?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 5:48.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BrantfordTV.org.